What the fuck was that? Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Malcriada Thoughts, the very first episode of 2025. I'm so excited to leave 2024 behind, like you guys don't even know. And even though there's so many shit going down in my personal life, I'm not letting it affect me, or in a way I'm trying not to let it drown me and sink me, because I know there's a lot of more stuff that needs more of my attention, my loving, caring attention, and that's what this episode is about today. Today I'll be telling you guys a little anecdotal, it'll be a little anecdotal episode today, just trying to put good energy and good vibrations out there for the beginning of the year, for all my listeners and for everybody really. But if you're listening to this message, I'm happy that it found you and it is for you intentionally. Okay, so get your stuff, figure out what activity you're going to be doing while you're listening. If you're going to drive, post drive, get in your car, get your keys. If you're going to go clean your room, go do that, because it's a good time to be doing that right now. New year, cleansing all this stuff out. Take out the fucking toilet papers in your bathroom, all that stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. So, when I was little, there was this little word that my parents would throw around sometimes. And this is what it was. Guato, or guatito. And what does this mean? Guatito, in a nutshell, is loving attention. When there's a little baby and you're like playing with it, you're cooing with it, talking little baby noises, and just basically spending time with the little child, you're essentially giving them guatito. It's going like, ooh, hello, you're so cute, oh my god, hyping him up, all that stuff. So when I was a little kid, my parents would say this word to each other and also to me. They would be like, hazle guatito, guatito, guato, etc. And it could be used in different ways, but the times I heard the most being used was when I was told to play with my little siblings. My mom would say, hazle guatito a tu hermano, which means, well, it doesn't have a direct translation, but guatito essentially means loving attention. When you're giving a little kid, you're playing with a little kid and you're just trying to spend time with them, but you can't talk, obviously, so what do? You just make little noises that make them feel happy, excited, and safe. So basically going with a baby like, oh my god, hey, ooh, peekaboo, blah, 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 blah. That's what guatito means. At least that's how my parents used it the most. But it could be used in different ways. Kind of like if someone's being too loud or obnoxious, you call them guatoso, like, oh, you're too guatoso, like you're doing too much, calm down, like. Or it could be used like that too, but mostly that's how I grew up talking about it. Also, like when dogs, like, no le hagas guato al perro, like don't hype up the dog too much because he's gonna like pee himself or jump on you or whatever. And I always found this word really interesting because when I would repeat it like out loud or with my other like not family, when I would bring it up with my friends or something here in Texas, they'd be like, what's that? And I was like, I don't know how to define it. Just attention, I guess. Loving attention. That's what I settled on. Now, here's the problem with guatito though. Usually, it's only reserved for little kids. When you talk like that to someone, you wouldn't talk like that to an adult. You would, if someone tells you, "Véasle guato allá al compadre," like go entertain that person. I don't want them to be alone. You're not gonna go up to like your uncle or whatever and be like, "Oh, hello, uncle, hello, oh my god." No, you're gonna be like, "Hey, what's up, uncle? What's happening? Like, what's up, tío?" So, usually it's implied that guatito is mainly for little kids or little animals, tiny little innocent things, right? And Once children reach teenhood, parents' attitudes begin to shift about this type of attention that we give our kids, our children. When you're a baby and you're cute, everything's fine, right? But then kids grow up and you realize that they can contribute to the house in different ways and just, being a cute little adorable baby. And so parents usually start to demand labor from their children to start get them used to contributing to their household and learning how to, work and sustain themselves. Which I'm not saying that children shouldn't contribute to their own households, but here's the issue. In our modern nuclear structure, that doesn't exist. The fact that children need to contribute to the household, that's not a thing. In a nuclear family structure, in a traditional family structure, at least in the US, is very much the husband takes care of the financial labor, the wife takes care of the domestic labor, and the kid's job is to attend school. Their labor is academia, which it is labor, it is work. Like, let's not just say you're just going to school. You have no responsibilities. Like, school is a lot of responsibility. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I think family structures in the United States, especially immigrant family structures, are very alienated. And they all have a different idea on how the family is supposed to run. When you're a little kid, or at least when I was a little kid, I thought that the entire job of my mom was to clean and cook after me. Obviously, I was a little kid and I didn't know any better. I didn't know this was part of like a stupid machista system that oppresses women. But that's how I called it, how I saw it. I was a kid. Like most kids do. Most kids pick up on these things. They catch on roles very, very fast. They're not stupid. They're usually more aware than most adults nowadays. And so when I was a kid, and my mom would be like, okay, you're grown enough. You're gonna do this and this and that. I was like, hell no. I'm not the mom. I'm the kid. You do that. I know, very malcriada, very bad. But that was the model that I was used to. And then all of a sudden, boop, things are changing. And I wasn't consulted with any of that. I was following the structure that they had previously set. And so that confused the shit out of me. And I'm sure that a lot of kids right now are very confused, especially with all this stupid shit that's on the internet nowadays. Trad wives and high value man and divine feminine and divine masculine and this and pitter patter Peter toxico, all this shit. Right? It's overwhelming and I hate it. And the biggest issue with this is that this could all be solved if people are willing to communicate and be open with each other on defining family structures. Unfortunately, most of our parents, a lot of immigrant parents here in the Valley, were never given that opportunity and were never modeled that behavior from their own parents. It seems like there are many times where adults don't want to recognize the wisdom that kids have. Kids have no reason to lie to you. Kids have no reason to do anything really. They just popped up, they're fresh out the womb right here, it's their first time here. And when they call out situations, sometimes parents get more angry at their children rather than taking a step back and analyzing, like, oh shit, my kid is pointing out something that I have thought in my head but never had the guts to say, or didn't have the time to express it, or I didn't have the space to express it. For example, let's put it into a metaphor. If our grandparents were forced to dig holes with their bare hands, eventually one day trying to make a type of tool for their next generation, so their own kids won't have to struggle as much as they did. So what do? Maybe they found a spoon somewhere, a little wooden stick somewhere, and they gave it to their kid. Here, keep digging. This is what I have to offer. Our parents, those kids, took that spoon, took that little wooden stick, and kept digging. A little bit more efficient, a little bit better than their parents, but it could still use work. So what do they do with the I don't know, money they make from digging holes or whatever. They save up their money and they go buy a shovel and they pass down this shovel to their kids. And one day, their own kids, us, our generation, they get a hold of the shovel, yes. And they start digging and they get tired and they start questioning why they're even doing this in the first place. They bring us up to their parent, like, Mom, why do we even have to dig? Like, what's the point of that? Can we do something else? Like, I'm kind of tired. Our parents, instead of, approaching our rejection of this shovel or task with curiosity, they are angry and react on us. Why are you even asking those questions? You should need to be grateful and accept what I've given you. You need to be grateful and take that shovel and dig your holes because I had a spoon. And you know what your grandparent had behind me? Their bare hands. So you just need to shut your little mouth and be grateful and do as you're told. A lot of the times, parents take out their emotional frustrations on their kids. And not just their kids, but whoever they're close to, whoever is in the closest proximity to them. And for immigrant parents who have settled here in Texas and all across the US with no family, with nothing in their pockets, with not even the language down, they're extremely lonely. And the only people who are there to have some cathartic, dumb release is their kids, to yell at them and to tell them, you don't know what you're doing. I know because I'm the adult. Fuck that, you know what I mean? Like, fuck that. Unfortunately, it's the reality for a lot of parents. My parents, bitch, if you're here, your parents, and so many different people. And it's not just Latinos. It's a lot of immigrants. It's not just Latino immigrants, you know what I mean? Let me go back and clarify. I don't think that this means that kids shouldn't have to contribute to their household. They should just go to school and that's it, and not pick up after themselves and be marranos and be cochinos. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, if you want to be a parent, or if you're a parent already, you should have already known what your style of parenting is going to be and how the family structure is going to work even before you had that child. And if you didn't, I'm not blaming you. I'm more so saying there is something missing here. You weren't giving the resources, maybe. You didn't have access to them. Maybe they were there, but maybe you just didn't have access to them in wherever you're from. Maybe you didn't have access to education. You didn't have access to mental health resources. Maybe you didn't even want to get pregnant. Maybe you didn't even have time to consider what that is. All these things are valid. But we also need to reconsider the fact that that regret is already gone. That moment is gone. The fact that the fact that you've made mistakes, it happened. But what are we gonna do now? That's always the question I say. But what are we gonna do now? That's always the question I want to know. I don't want to reminisce too much on the past. Like, I know, I understand. Being empathetic is such a... I don't want to say burden, but sometimes it's really painful and hurtful because I can easily put myself in the position of many people, especially my parents, oh my god, but they can't seem to do that with me. And many immigrant parents can't. And there's also immigrant parents who are doing an awesome fucking job and going against the whole grain that is traditionalism and all this bullshit. So congrats to y'all. But that isn't the case for a lot of us. And it's because a lot of parents think that children aren't entitled to their loving attention once they reach a certain age. Ya estás manganzón, ya estás peludo, ya estás peluda, ya estás grande. Ya tienes que ponerte las pilas. ¿Quieres que me ponga las pilas, pero no me dices las instrucciones? At the same time, let's not go too far into learned helplessness, because although my parents didn't teach me how to self-regulate my emotions, my parents didn't teach me how to respect myself in relationships, my parents didn't teach me how to figure out what kind of career I wanted. Not really. They didn't do this. They provided for me. They took care of me, my physical needs, and they made sure that no one stabbed me. And so, that's pretty good for like a global parent metric system, whatever. That's pretty fucking good. I still want more. I still want more. And not just from my parents, but from any fucking person that wants to get close to me. I need to set that fucking standard. I need to fucking respect myself. I need to do that because no one is going to do it for me. Bitch, if my fucking parents didn't do it, like, you think like a random ass like bitch is gonna do it for you? Like, she's not. She is not. Sorry to that random bitch to call her out, but she isn't. She isn't gonna do that. No one is gonna do it for you. And that was like one of the toughest lessons that I had to learn 2024. No one. Nadie te va a hacer guatito to you anymore. Because ya estás grande. But that doesn't mean you can't do it to yourself. And I'll get into that later. But first, let me finish this little point. So there's a bigger problem here, right? More than just stubborn parents and children. There is a problem of alienation and a disconnect. It's always a fucking disconnection. It's always a disconnection from our roots, from our family, from our cultures, from our environment, from the earth, from Pachamama. This is the issue that we have. And it just gets lost in the noise of insults that we tell each other, because those are the ones that take up most of our time and sometimes hurt the most. Everyone should be entitled to loving attention, no matter their age. But guess who gets robbed from that? Young women and girls and femmes. Women and femmes usually get robbed from this loving attention because they're expected to mature and contribute to the household at a much earlier age than their male peers. I remember now that when my parents tasked me with the I guess responsibility to entertain my little siblings, it made me feel like I was too old to receive that now. Now I have to do it for other people. Now I have to pass down the spoon, pass down the shovel, pass down the, I don't know, truck. And yeah, but it honestly really wasn't my job. It was my parents' job to give their children loving attention. I know I'm taking it like super deep and different and stretching it, but hear me out. We're taught to stop caring about ourselves. Taught to stop thinking that we deserve the loving attention, the guatito that you get when you're a little kid. And that's really sad because I think that everyone should be entitled to this at all times. And it doesn't always have to look a certain way. It doesn't only have to look like, ay, qué bonito niño, qué hermoso, ay, mi bebé. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to look like that. Loving attention can look like setting boundaries, like respecting yourself, not allowing disrespect from people, no matter who they are, not allowing people to gaslight you and manipulate you. And if they did, learning to forgive yourself and not guilt yourself and shame yourself for that. And I think a lot of criadas, a lot of women, a lot of femmes feel me on this, because again, we were robbed from that way earlier than our brothers and our fathers. Because okay, this is really funny because sometimes a lot of kids are jealous of their dads when they get attention from their mom, or vice versa, because they're little kids and they're funny and like they're kids. Like, kids have big emotions and it's fun. It's fun to learn how they see the world. But I can recall very, very, very easily that I would have a lot of questions and resentment sometimes towards my dad, because even though he was a grown up, he didn't have to wash his dish. He didn't have to do his bed. He didn't have to sweep. He didn't have to mop. He didn't have to even put his dirty clothes in the laundry hamper. He didn't even have to make it. And he was fine. My mom didn't pick fights with him. He didn't have to do any of that. But when I did that, a child, a teen, or whatever, It's the end of the world. I'm a horrible disobedient child who never listens and whatever. And when there is a hierarchy in your home, it's going to cause problems because people are going to feel unheard, ignored, disregarded. And if those people are your kids, how do you think that's going to turn out? How do you think that's going to turn out? And I'm not saying that amazing, loving, providing fathers don't deserve a nice home cooked meal, don't deserve a nice clean house, but I do believe that they they are not above cleaning up after yourself. Just because you work in construction doesn't mean you can't wipe down the sink when you're done brushing your teeth. Just because you work at a really labor, whatever, a heavy labor job, doesn't mean you can't throw your clothes in the fucking laundry hamper. Just because you had a long taxing day doesn't mean that you can't wash your plate or even just rinse the food off of it. Me just clocking everything my dad has done. But it's true. And why? Because a lot of the times men, male presenting people and people who identify as male, a lot of the times they are the ones who are still giving this loving attention well into their grown ass years. Am I wrong? Are you gonna look at me? You're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? No, because I'm not. And it's so disappointing. It's just so disappointing, and it just feels like a big letdown. And I know. Oh, what else did you expect, Z? Like, this world is a patriarch world. It's just a letdown because, I'm sorry, I expect decency and, like, mutual respect from everyone. I'm so sorry, love. But it's true. And it just also contributes to the parentization of daughters and of femmes, of queer people. Like, literally, because I don't want to get too controversial on here, but usually if there's a queer kid in the family, they're the ones who are exploited the most by their parents because they will listen because they're scared. At least my family, like, in the past, like, we're very, very, very homophobic. It's only not recently till we made some progress in changing that. And I was one of the first queer kids in the family, and I realized that my like a lot of the times my dad would favor an older sibling because they were straight and they were like, or they were just straight presenting and things like that. Like, he would favor them over me because he wouldn't like that I talk about those cochinadas. Stupid. But yeah, like, and they also make you do more work because they think by making you do hard work and it'll make you change your mind. Like, they think like, oh, what if I treated them like this? Así se le quita. A ver si se le quita si va a podar todo el backyard. Oh, she's talking about stupideces that she likes girls. Oh, a ver si hace eso y se le quita. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like punishment through labor, punishment through stupid shit. Like, yeah, like, I don't want to just say that it's only through, like, women and femmes, but also just queer boys, too. Like, sometimes they're bullied and, like, forced, like, by their older straight siblings to do things that they don't want to do. Or they manipulate them into doing their chores for them. If not, I'm gonna tell dad. If not, I'm gonna tell mom. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that could happen. I'm not saying that it happens in every situation. It's just some things that I've experienced and learned and observed in a lot of my friends' houses, a lot of my family, in my own house, things like that. So, yeah. So, okay, loving attention, whatever. What are we gonna do about that? Like, what is loving attention gonna do? Like, how do we even do that? Basically, for this new year, hazte guatito. Hazte guatito, because you deserve loving attention. And if no someone was giving to you that when you were little, but then roughly stopped because you're grown now, you don't have to listen to them. You don't have to listen to people who tell you that you shouldn't take care of yourself or love yourself or give yourself attention, especially when they're not doing it. And again, love my parents down. I respect a lot of the things that they've done for me. But I was obviously very attention starved. And I saw this video online, like a little clip a while back, where it was like, okay, but something, is it better to want love? Is it better to get love or attention or whatever? And then they responded with, what's the difference? How do you get to know someone? By paying attention to what they say, by paying attention to their actions, paying attention to their sus gustos, paying attention to the things that they like, paying attention to their favorite foods, their favorite movies, paying attention to them. And to be known is to be loved. And I never gave myself permission to do that for myself until recently. Until maybe 2023, 2024. I'll give 2024 that. They fucking had 2024 had to throw the stupidest shit my way so I can be like, bitch, are you just gonna let this happen? Are you just gonna let these people treat you like this? Are you gonna stand your ground and not let them gaslight you into what they think happened? And that's what I decided. I'm giving myself the loving attention that I missed out on in my childhood, in my teens, and even now. And I give you permission to give yourself all the loving attention in the world this year and all the years left to come. Because you deserve it. All the mujeres deserve love and attention. I've been seeing this trend a lot, and I saw it ever since I was little. The boy craze in a lot of young girls. And not just the boy craze, but I guess the romance craze in a lot of young women and femmes. And at times, also the queer community. I guess little baby gays. And it's so sad because when I was going through that, I was going through that like in middle school, you know, middle school and the beginnings of high school. And then I got groomed. So like that kind of killed it for me. And it was just a really hard thing to go through. But I never sought out to find, to love myself. I never did that. And I didn't know myself. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know that I could do so many different things. I didn't know that I could go. I didn't know that was a thing that I could do. I didn't know that I could be a burlesque artist. I didn't know that I could just make a podcast. I didn't know that I could write a poetry book. I didn't think people would listen to me. I didn't think people would like that one poem that went viral. Because I give myself that attention. And so many young girls are giving themselves that attention. But again, I hate to see it be derailed by them solely focusing on romantic love. Especially if it's from a male. Because that's not the prize. Romantic love isn't the prize. You knowing yourself and knowing every single aspect of yourself, trusting yourself, knowing that you got yourself, and then embarking on romances, on career opportunities, on community service, on liberation work, on advocacy. and trying to make this world a better place for everyone. That's the price. And it makes me really sad when I see so many like young girls like in like toxic relationships when they're so talented. They're so talented, they're so smart, they're so strong, they have the funniest jokes. And then to see their light getting dimmed, to see the happiness in their face fade when their boyfriend calls because he wants to know where she's at. It's very nuanced. It's lots of things they packed up in there, but that's the point of this episode. I want every one of my listeners, everyone who has neglected their selves, not just, and like if you're like, oh, I don't know myself, if that word seems so like vaguely so strange to you, so I don't know what that is, like, you're who I'm talking about. Because I remember feeling like that. I was like, I don't know, like it's just some girl, like some bitch, like some random girl in the world, like hello. But every day, like, if I pay attention to myself, there's gonna be things that I don't like. There's bound to be things that you don't like about yourself. But the amazing thing about paying attention to them is that you can make a conscious decision to change that. And to be like, oh, yeah, that's not cute. Let me try again. Allowing yourself to try again. Allowing yourself to not reject yourself. And in this economy, in this attention economy, that's what everyone wants. All these companies just want your attention. They don't want you to be actually focusing on the things that actually make your life more rich. Not rich in the stupid, luxurious, like 5-star hotel resort bullshit. No. In the things that truly make you rich. Your community, your art, your passions, your family, your chosen family. But we're just here focusing on, well, not all of us, right? I'm trying really not to, but I see a lot of people just focusing on things that don't even matter to them. It doesn't even matter to them. It doesn't even matter to them. Y ahí están. And that's what I wanted to say for this year. That's the vibe I want to put out. Hazte guatito. Hazte guatito, way. Like, literally. Pay attention to yourself. Love yourself. And not in a superficial, I'm going to go to the spa. Like, not a superficial way. Not in a cosmetic way. In a raw way. In a real way. By changing behaviors that not only hurt others, but yourself. I'm trying really hard to do that. And that means getting rid of a lot of things in my life. And I'm scared. I'm scared for how my life will look like in 5 to 10 years. Will all the people who were with me now, will they even be there? Would they even care to see me get out of whatever this shit is? I don't know. But I know that I'll be there. I can't escape this vessel in a non-violent way. There's no way for me to escape it. My mind, my thoughts are all in here. I think that's all I have to say. If not, I'm just gonna keep repeating myself. Pero hasta que lo entiendan. Okay. I really hope that this year you make the best of it. Whether that's taking, more time for yourself, putting more time into your passions, putting more time into anything that piques your interest. But more especially putting time into community and involving yourself in the local politics because things are gonna get heavy, dude. They've been heavy, I know, but like, yeah, ya estuvo. Like, No. Yeah. Okay. That's all I had to say, you guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I love you. This was your host, Zadria Knives, signing off.